Hello, world. How's it going? My name is Kyle, and you're listening to the Nerd BS podcast, which stands for Bacon Sandwich, which, hands down, you can't beat. Just straight bacon. None of that BLT stuff. Just straight. No, I'm just kidding. It stands for Nerd Backstory. And with me, as always, we have Tomas. Say hello.
Bacon sandwich sounds pretty good to me, man. I'm on board with that one.
Yes, sir. Can't be beat. And of course, the delightful Alan.
We gotta have some lettuce and tomato on that. I'm sorry, I love my BLTs.
I do too. I'm just kidding. I
Gotta get some nutrition in that madness of just pure slabs of meat.
Iceberg lettuce, really? Iceberg lettuce is nutritional. I'll give you the tomato.
Vitamin C, I think.
I think.
Well, I mean,
don't quote me.
You have mustard from the mustard seed, and we've got plenty of vegetables.
Put mustard in there. Put mustard in the BLT.
Yeah, don't be putting mustard on my BLT.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are the Nerd BS podcast. We want to give you the backstory to our nerd lives and maybe a little bit more. And so we're going to jump into what we got today, and we got some news this week, and we call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we like to start with the good. We always start with the ugly. But
you're in charge. You can mix it up if you want, DJ.
DJ. All right. So let's just go good, bad, and the ugly this week. We usually like to end on the good, but I think it'll work this way. So in good news this week is that the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5 are both out as of tomorrow when we're recording. Whenever you hear this, they're out. People are getting them early, and they're playing the games. I've noticed they're playing Assassin's Creed a lot. I think that's a big one. I haven't seen a lot of PS5 stuff yet. However, Xbox is managing the Series X and S really well, and they released a statement today, which is we're recording on the 11th. But I'm not quoting because I don't have it pulled up. And Xbox released a statement on Twitter saying, "We're sorry we have to say this, but please don't blow your vape smoke directly into the Xbox Series X." And so they're taking care. Like, guys, come on, that's customer service, right? Am I wrong?
It's kind of funny.
Why would you do that though? Like, what possessed you?
If you were following Twitter, the reason why this came up is because people found out you could actually use the Xbox Series S to charge your vape, the core unit. So now we have this warning from Microsoft saying don't blow the vapes into the Xbox, which I just think is humorous. The connection there.
I think there's like a fan because they're notorious for not having enough in the wrong spots on their consoles, and I'm pretty sure there's a fan in an area of the Xbox that would make it look cool if you blew smoke into it. And there was a rumor that you could put a ping pong ball. Yeah, you could put like a ping pong ball on it, and it would hover.
But that's just float.
It's a rumor. Don't.
But what? I'm just curious. Like, why are you trying to make your console do something that it's not supposed to do? Like, that's like people taking the old Xbox and like cracking an egg over it and be like, it can fry an egg.
You're underestimating the creativity of people. How many people tasted the Switch cartridge when it first came out?
What?
That was all over the place because they put a flavor on it to deter pets and children from eating the cartridges. So people were licking them.
So you're saying that we're underestimating the creativity, but also overestimating the average intelligence.
Intelligence, yes. But I think you're missing the best part of the Xbox Series X. I'm pretty sure I tweeted you about the how it is exactly the same size as the GameCube. It just fits perfectly on top of it. So I mean, there.
That was actually really cool. It's like it's all turning into this one giant transformer, and I think it's a plot that all these consoles in our house are going to take over.
That's cool. I'm glad they're actually working on that.
They're just it is good news because they're transparent and they're open to everything, and I think they're doing a good job. There's no malfunctions as of yet that I know about, and I hope there won't be. I think they got it down at this point.
Yeah, I don't even think that would like kill it. I think the only issue would be like I know with the vaping there's like a juice particle. I think that's the only thing they're worried about is it getting caught inside the juice getting caught inside. But yeah, they've deterred it. Hopefully it doesn't happen anymore.
Were you going to say something, Tomas?
No, I mean, but I'll say something now. I don't understand why people have to get their consoles. Why are you smoking with your consoles, people? They don't smoke. Leave them be.
Yeah, exactly. So the bad news this week, though, moving on in the news, the bad news is that the DMCA is involved with Twitch, and the DMCA, oh man, I just had it, but it's basically the digital millennial babadaboosh. It's music related copyright stuff, and it's infiltrated Twitch. It's happened to YouTube, and now it's in Twitch. And the reason I picked it as bad this week is because it's affected probably every stream I watch in one way or another. In one way, some streamers are joking like, "Oh, I can't even walk into a store if music's playing and I'm streaming because I'll get flagged for it," which might be true. I feel like they're joking, but in other ways, there were some streamers that were actually taking donations to play a YouTube video and during their stream, and that's obviously shut down completely. But it's bad news because of the way that Twitch handled it. Originally, they pretty much just did an overhaul or whatever you call it, just an expansive, shut everything down. All the previous videos, all the recordings, the replays, just if you're worried or think you might get flagged or banned, just delete it all, rather than having a step-by-step process to go through these videos. However, on the other side, Twitch is being very open, and they said they're going to be transparent and they're going to start making things right again. We're not exactly sure how, but they're trying to. So give them kudos for that. And they apologize for it. So
Well, I think that though in some ways you have to think about it like if they didn't pull everything in and just shut it all down, you realize it would just be blow out in a huge thing if the wrong music was on something or something. I don't see what they did as an overreaction. I see what they did as just to hedge all their bets.
I'm gonna go on the deterrent on that one because it is an overreaction. There's a lot of content on that people have painstakingly made. This is their work. And yes, maybe they should have been saving it elsewhere, but right now they had no indication that they were going to lose that stuff from Twitch. Now
right.
Twitch is going around just deleting it all. It is technically Twitch's, so they have that, they're allowed to do that, but that doesn't make it right to just go around and destroy all these people's hard-earned work that was sitting there, their histories of their casts they've done that people have been able to go watch. Hopefully, a lot of those people had it available on YouTube as well. But when I did Twitch, I didn't do that because I didn't think about it. And so there's a lot of people that I'm sure either didn't think about it or weren't trying to spread, and now a lot of their work is probably gone. And that's, I mean, is
Yeah.
that their fault?
Yeah. There was no heads up or warning for that one too. That was the big thing of just like,
Did they say that it's gone? They're not going to put it back up as they sift through it.
that would be pretty much be the indication. Yeah.
That's the assumption because it's all gone. They have not said we have put this aside and we're gonna review it and give it back later. They haven't said anything like that. They basically just went through their website, wiped everything that they felt violated this DMCA thing, and then called it a day. I mean, if they would have given people a week or two to say, "Hey, we're going to get rid of all this stuff. If you really want to save it, you better bust your butt and start downloading it and preserving it." But it doesn't sound like they did that. It sounds like they just made a call.
Right, and it goes back to what we were talking about with Sony a few, maybe 1 or 2 episodes ago. Just like you could have nipped this in the bud in the beginning. You know, this thing, it's the DMCA, which is the Copyright Act. It's not brand new. You know, it's not just happening this
No.
week, and so it could have been. There could have been steps in place that they're going to do now. Like I said, I want to give Twitch credit. They're doing it now, but they should have been doing this already. And that's kind of, I think that's kind of what you're speaking to, Tomas, is that maybe it's just a larger problem, not so much with Twitch itself, but just with, our society and our, maybe just our culture, but that we're, dare I say, lazy and not wanting to take the steps necessary ahead of time, or fearful, like you said, of just like, I don't want to know how people are going to react. And it's like, well, that's no way to live. Like, we don't need to live in fear because someone's going to react and sue your pants off.
Well, it just reminds me a lot of the whole Napster crisis.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminds me of, a lot of.
Well, yeah, it's exactly what happened to YouTube, and that's what I'm worried about. But if they are taking the right precautions, Kyle, which I hope they are, I hope we don't get in that situation, because YouTube's system of flagging, demonetization, and everything else is pretty shameful to independent artists who don't have the capacity that a lot of these large corporations do to just hire people to comb websites and check and make sure nobody has their song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It's a terrible, like, kind of ecosystem that they've built, that it's not a lot of freedom and kind of scary because anyone can flag you at any time. But you mentioned YouTube. One of my YouTube videos was flagged for quote unquote inappropriate content. And when I rewatched it, it was an unboxing video for a video game. And the only thing inappropriate was that there was some girls, like some anime girls, sitting on a couch, and I was like, "Oh, there's some." I mentioned, "Oh, there's some ladies here." And they're fully dressed and everything, and it was just weird. Like, how did I get flagged? Who flagged me? What is he talking
Yeah.
about? And so, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
it's a little crazy, like a Wild
I had
West.
the same thing happen. I when I had some gameplay videos, I have some gameplay videos on my channel from back in the day that I just haven't got rid of. And one of them's of a Star Wars game, and there's Star Wars music in the background. It
Uh,
was flagged, and it is now a silent video. They basically gutted the sound off of it.
well, at least, I mean, you still have a video, I
I
guess.
suppose, but it was
It-
just like really, really.
Silent movies were a big thing, man. They were
yeah.
huge.
Oh, wait, there's no sound at all?
No, there's
Or
no sound at all.
yeah, okay.
Because they weren't going to take the
I
time to
got you.
actually edit it. They're
Yeah.
just completely turned off the sound. It's a mute video
Okay.
now.
Never mind. I for some reason I thought you still were talking on it. Yeah, that's terrible. That's just pointless at that stage.
Yeah, I think I just deleted it. I'm not sure if it's still there
Yeah,
anymore.
that makes sense.
It would
Well,
have been funny if you had written down on like a little flashcard, do 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 do, and then held it up.
that's clever. You just play the music in your head. That's good. Well, let me finish this topic by saying that that I mentioned there's a streamer that would have a donation button to play videos from YouTube, and it's good and bad because, like, should you take that down? He was getting direct donations, I think even outside of Twitch, to play YouTube videos. Yeah, take that down. That probably needs to be taken down. I get that, but at the same point, he actually, I think, has more viewers now because people were trolling it so bad. They would play like annoying kid songs and like fart noises, and he would just let it play because they were giving him money. But I think his channel has grown because that's gone, and it's an interesting contrast. I was like, oh man, he can't do it
Yeah,
anymore. But now he has a couple more hundred viewers than normal, and I was like, oh, I think maybe it worked for your benefit a little bit.
yeah, I've seen that. The only thing that's positive about the Twitch thing is, if you stream with music on, you're probably going to be okay. The main issues right now is the previously recorded stuff. That's the stuff they're really coming down on. Which is
Right.
when I heard, I could be wrong, Kyle, but from what I heard, a lot of streamers are just acting like nothing's happened, but then deleting the videos afterwards.
Yeah, it's just a lot of them have changed kind of the music they play, and it's kind of this weird like, oh, you don't want to, especially Star Wars. That's a good one. Like, you don't want to play Star Wars music because that one's big, and they'll find you. And yeah, a lot of people just posting on YouTube now, kind of switching their recorded videos to YouTube and other sources. So it's just so muddled and messy. And you mentioned before the podcast, it's frustrating. It's just frustrating for everybody involved. It's like, why are we going? Who's benefiting from any of this? And I get you don't want people to steal music, but it just doesn't seem like anybody's really benefiting ultimately from this. So I think it's
No.
bad news. And
Hmm.
we've talked a lot about this one, so let's move on. You had the ugly news for us this week, Alan. So
Yeah, it's a quick one I heard about, which I thought was a little silly. It is over. They stopped this whole thing, but essentially GameStop, big corporation, decided it was a bright idea to do a contest. You know how some big corporations sometimes they do a little of crazy stuff without thinking. They did a nice contest with they would do TikTok challenge. They would dance. The employees would,
it
and they're
sounds
like, okay,
fun.
well, you do this dance. Yeah, it does sound like a great time, and that's some great rewards. There was only one person was going to win was their idea, but the rewards were 2 Amazon Echo devices, which is pretty cool. $100 Visa gift card. But the kicker that kind of started this whole thing off is the ability to work 10 additional labor hours for them,
Woohoo! I
uh,
can't
which
wait
was
for those hours, baby.
which is just sad. Yeah, it's over now, but it just goes to show how much they did not think about this. Obviously, they essentially, like you said, like you're overreacting there, but it's yeah, they want you to dance to work for them. I mean, you
Well,
want hours? Show 'em what you got.
today.
I want some dollars in my waistband then. I want some dollars in my waistband.
That's a good point. I didn't even go down that road. Man, that's a really good point. Remind me though, you said they ended it. Did they end the whole program or just did they cut out
As
the
far as I
hours thing?
know, they just cut it completely for now. They may be recreating something else, or maybe redoing it in a way, little under the cuff, so that way hopefully nobody notices this time. I'm assuming they're going to take the labor hours out.
Take the labor
I would
hours
hope.
out. Yeah, we don't want people working and earning more hours, but you can dance for them. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely ugly. I love GameStop. I think they have a lot of things they could do better or differently. That's pretty ugly, though. That's a bad move on their part.
Yeah.
This had to be like an accidental thing, right? This was no one purposely thought that through.
I'm
That w-
assuming nobody's thought it through, but it was on purpose.
it was on purpose, and yeah, it must have missed HR because that you can't. That doesn't even sound legal.
Right?
It
I,
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't sound legal.
it doesn't. So that's the good, the bad, and the ugly for us this week. Let's move on, fellas. What we got up next is we're going to do pop culture. I love pop culture, and I have some stuff I want to talk about. So I'm pretty sure we mentioned this, or Alan mentioned this a couple podcasts ago, but he's told us to watch Fargo, specifically season 4. Now, when you told Tomas and I about this, we were both like, or at least me, said, "You're talking about the movie, right? Like, there's a
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
from the '90s. Like, I'll go. Okay, I guess I'll go watch it."
Yeah.
But been a show, and they're on season 4, and I'm so far out of the loop in this that I'm jumping in on season 4. I have not seen the first 3 seasons, but they're not connected. If you haven't seen any of them, you have to watch. Just start with season 4, and like Alan's been telling us, then you could go back and watch the other ones because they. I think I saw Billy Bob in one of the seasons. You
Yeah,
mentioned
Billy Bob
Ewan
Thornton.
McGregor is in one of them.
McGregor's was in the last season. He plays twins, which is actually really cool. Does a really good
Yeah.
job.
So once this one ends, which I'm a little upset that I thought it was done and completed because I don't want to. I don't like waiting on the line here to see what's going to happen, even though I'm totally sucked in. The past week I watched all 8 episodes that are up as of now, and I'm totally hooked. And let me just say this: Chris Rock does an amazing job in this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil anything because I know Tomas hasn't seen it, but Chris Rock is amazing. If you like any mafia movies at all, you have to watch this season. Now, that being said, I feel like there's a couple storylines that we could do without, but you're making a show, you want to stretch it out. I think it all works pretty well together, but there's a couple things in there we could maybe talk about later on without spoiling anything. But most of the acting, I think, and Timothy, if you guys noticed, Timothy Oliphant's in it, who was in The Mandalorian as well.
He's in The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
He was the marshal.
Yeah. And
Oh
in
crud!
both. And he's the marshal in
I
both.
did not know it's the same guy. Holy crud! Yeah, that's awesome.
Come on, dude.
That did not click. That
You're
did
the one
nothing to me.
you're recommending this. So
I've watched both of them. They're both amazing.
Yeah, he plays a marshal in both of them, which is
Yeah, he does.
interesting.
You're right.
He nails it. And then the one that stood out when I texted you about this, I was like, you didn't tell me Jason Schwartzman's in this. And he's one of my favorite actors. He doesn't his character doesn't really fit in to in the environment, but I think it's on purpose because
Yes,
that's part of who his character is. It's just he doesn't quite fit in, and he's trying to figure out how he does, and it works, and it's great, and I'm going to say, so even unless they screw up the finale of the season, Game of Thrones style, it's better than The Irishman. I did not like that movie, The Irishman. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I haven't watched The Irishman yet.
Uh,
But Fargo, I don't know about The Irishman, but I know I can't remember the guy's name who made it. But I know his mobster movie is a little more serious in tone. What I like about Fargo a lot.
You mean Scorsese?
Yeah, Scorsese. What I like about Fargo a lot
Look at you.
is
I can't believe you right now.
that is kind of surprising. You don't know Scorsese off the top of your head.
I'm sorry. I don't actually watch a lot of mobster movies, to be honest.
Oh,
I watched Scarface and I watched the first and second Godfather.
Okay.
I had a poster on the wall for a while. I like Scarface a lot.
Scorsese, that is his new name. We're giving you a hard time, dude.
Yeah, come on, relax.
What I was saying was his movies are much more serious. What I like about Fargo is it has a very good tone, and it has a bit of humor mixed in that makes it very interesting. And I think it kind of balances out the serious moments with the more silly moments.
I agree. I totally agree.
And one cool thing about Fargo, now you're going to see this, Kyle, is most seasons they start pretty serious and they have a very good story that intertwines. And
Right.
usually there's something out of left field that comes at the end. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I could see that because of the whole funeral home thing. I'm not going to give it away, but I get what you're saying, and right now, you and I are on the same page, which is cool for me because it's been a long time since I've actually watched a show as it unrolls.
Yeah.
Besides Mando.
And I'm excited to see what happens. There's a whole thing that's been happening all season that I'm curious where it's going to go, and I saw the sneak peek for next season because I watched it on TV. I don't think you get that on Hulu, so I won't say anything about that. But I'm excited.
Me. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, let me ask you: you watch it on TV on FX?
Yeah.
Do they edit out the F-bombs?
I don't think so.
They can say the F word on there?
I didn't notice. I actually watched the majority of it on Hulu because my TV went out for a while. But then it recently got fixed. Yeah, and so I watched the current one on air, but I didn't notice any editing, but I could have easily missed it.
Yeah, not a big deal. I was just wondering because I'm watching on Hulu and there's several F-bombs, so just heads
Would
up.
it be a mobster movie without F-bombs, right?
Yeah, it would be. It'd probably be a little bit silly if they didn't. But
Anyways.
I think Chris Rock's nailing it, and it's really fun. So if you like any of that kind of stuff, check it out. So now we have some Blood of Zeus, which I don't know about this one, guys. So you guys got to take this one away.
I thought it was really great. I watched it because Alan actually suggested it to me.
What do you watch it on?
Netflix.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun to see the Greek gods in a story that hasn't been retold over and over again. It's supposed to be like an original Greek story.
Is it a show or a series?
It's got one season so far. I think
Okay, yeah. So it's continuing. There's a second season coming.
yeah, but it's got one season so far, and I think the first season is 8 episodes, right? Or 10?
8 episodes. They range between about 25, and I think the last episode ended up being about 40 to 50 minutes.
Yeah, I think the
Oh,
last
okay.
Typical
episode was
Netflix where they fluctuate.
well, I
I
think the
got
last
you.
episode was supposed to be like a finale where it's like 2 just
Yeah,
mashed
yeah,
into
of
one.
course. I love it. It actually gave me weird, like, adult Hercules vibes. Like, I
Mhm.
love the Hercules movie, but it was like it's like Hercules, but for adults.
Yeah,
What about
yeah.
you mean like Kevin
So
Sorbo's Kevin Sorbo's Hercules?
no, not Kevin Sorbo. I'm talking about Disney Hercules.
Oh,
Who's your favorite gladiator?
gotcha.
Yeah,
Russell
yeah.
Crowe.
Hercules.
Russell Crowe.
Russell. But anyways, I actually
Oh, you
really enjoy
talking
that
about the
movie.
Titans?
Yeah, the Titans. The Hercules, like the guy from Kingdom Hearts. Remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
The tight Oh,
Yeah.
but
wait,
anyways,
Kingdom
yeah,
Hearts,
it's
he
still
yeah.
it's still really good. I agree with Tomas. I really enjoyed it as well. I watched it all the way through. I think in a day and 2 nights,
Whoa,
and I
look at
really
you.
enjoyed it. I finished Castlevania, and then I was like, I need something else. Moved straight into Blood of Zeus, and I also was playing Hades at the same time. Another great thing I'll talk about later, but
Look at
also
that.
focusing on Greek gods, and so it's just really cool. I
So
enjoyed it as
you're
well.
basically a scholar in that
I
mythology
yeah,
now.
scholar. That's what you call me. Yeah, I think I'm about to go out and
Is it
philosophize a little bit.
is it a standalone season?
No,
Like,
there's
oh,
it leads into the next season, so it's like it kind
okay.
of it sets it up.
Well, although I would say that this season ends with a decisive ending to its story, but it does
Yeah,
leave you
of course.
with like, "Oh, there's something new gonna come." Like but it does have it is a one clear story with a entry and an ending, but it just leaves a little bit extra at the end for you to go like, "Oh, there's gonna be more."
Yeah,
I
which
actually was hoping it was gonna be isolated for reasons that I would get into if we were doing spoilers, but
yeah, I don't want to spoil too much either, but like going back to even Fargo, those seasons seem to be standalone, and maybe they tie in some way, but it seemed like this one just you could watch from season 4 and you're good.
yeah, when I'm going back to Fargo, that's why I love Fargo. It's so
Yeah.
nice to have an isolated story, and it's just like similar writers, similar cinematography, so you know what you're getting into, but totally different story.
It seems smart because, I think this show's been out long enough, but Stranger Things, the first season by itself, fantastic show. I think it
Yeah,
starts dragging on and getting a little wonky in third season. However, if they had done that model where each season they're in that town with different characters, man, like that could have been, and then like they
yeah.
could connect them somehow. I think maybe it's hindsight is always 2020, but it seems like a smart way when you're dealing with these epic grand stories that a standalone season works well and you don't have to get caught up in connecting it all.
I'm totally with you on that. I've been like that. I've been noticing that more often that I enjoy more isolated stories, and especially stories that involve the same world. Going back to Star Wars, it's the same thing. It's like I would prefer more isolated stuff in the same universe,
Yeah.
and I really wish we could do that more often without just following the same heroes every season, where it starts getting boring, like Stranger Things. I agree. First season amazing, second season was good, and the third season starts dragging on. You're like, all right, what are we doing next?
Well, I think it has something to do with like Kyle, you and I were talking in the chat earlier about how I had brought up that apparently Dune was postponed or whatever, and you were like, "Yeah, I think it's gonna flop," and I was like, "Yeah, personally, me too." And we had said something about like everything's just a remake of something, it
Right.
seems, and it just feels like it's a loss of originality. I mean, I'm with you, Alan, in the sense that yeah, I want to know more about Star Wars, and that'd be fun to watch and stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, I would love for us to, you know, develop. And I think Alan had said something like this. I would love to see like stories more developed on people outside of the main Star Wars canon,
Yeah,
outside of Luke, outside of Leia, outside of
yeah, exactly what Kyle was saying. The same event is happening all around, but it doesn't have to focus the same people.
Right. You know, watch Fargo, Tomas, and then maybe we can even do like a spoiler cast on it. Because the
I'm
other
actually kind of
shows,
upset because I'd rather you do Fargo than Blood of Zeus. It's a much better show than Blood of Zeus. I'll tell you that right
well,
now.
I did Blood of Zeus first, so I'll work.
As usual, I've just lost a little more respect for you.
Hey, you're the one who didn't know who the heck Scorsese was. All right, so no, you've lost it this
I
time,
mean,
buddy.
I know
You've
he's a
lost it
hack.
this time.
so, so,
Keep going, Kyle.
on the note of
No, Kyle. Hold on. What did you say? You called
Oh,
Scorsese.
I'm listening to Kyle, trying to be polite.
I think you called Scorsese a hack. I think that's what I heard.
you
I
haven't
think
he
I'm
hasn't even
listening to
seen the
Kyle.
movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movies.
Well, speaking of hacks, Squad 2 is coming out. Tomas is excited about it. I think Alan and I are on the other end of the fence. However, I don't want to be a downer. So, Tomas, what do you tell us about Suicide Squad?
Well, you know, because I know movies, I obviously pick out the better movies around the three of us, but that's okay. It's okay.
Just like, what was it? Ghost Dogs was your
Yeah,
favorite horror movie?
Dog soldiers. Come
Hasn't
on,
seen
don't
Halloween,
do this.
hasn't seen Alien. We can probably keep going on, but continue with Suicide Squad.
Anyways,
Yeah, yeah. The
Suicide
Academy
Squad.
Award winning. It did win the first one won an Academy Award. So
Yeah, so it's got a lot to live up to.
So the second Suicide Squad is coming out, and we talked a bit about this earlier, but apparently the actual team lineup has come out, and it consists of Bloodsport, Javelin, oh my word, Ratcatcher, Polka Dot Man, Harley Quinn, of course, King Shark, the Thinker. I feel like there's another few that I'm. Oh, Boomerang,
So-
of course. Freaking Captain Boomerang's got to be in it.
I haven't heard of any of these people, besides Harley Quinn and maybe Boomerang. This is a nerd BS.
well,
And this sounds like BS.
I'm personally ashamed of you because Polka Dot Man is a Batman rogue, and Ratcatcher is a Batman rogue. So
But okay,
lose respect for me. What is wrong with you guys?
I haven't lost respect. I don't know these characters, and I've never claimed to be a Batman aficionado.
No, yes, Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man are, and of course Harley Quinn. Well, Harley Quinn's and Captain Boomerang are probably the most known. Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man are rogues of Batman. Bloodsport.
So the rogues are in it then?
Yeah,
Is
well,
what you're
yeah.
saying.
Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man are going to be in it, but other than that, I don't know. I don't know Bloodsport's
So
backstory.
it's got a pretty star-studded cast with an interesting. I'm sure people can go see the trailer. But what did you think of the trailer so far? I mean, it wasn't really shown anything. It's just people.
Yeah, so far it's
But
just
obviously, these people don't matter that much. So it really comes down to who's playing them.
Yeah.
There's some pretty cool actors in there. I know that. But you can see the trailer. But some highlights. I know Nathan Fillion, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I'm most excited for because I really like him.
Who's he
in
playing?
Firefly. Oh, I don't even know. Some rando villain, I guess.
I wanted to say he's the Thinker.
Yeah, okay. I know Idris Elba.
Idris Elba is Bloodsport. And a bunch of people had thought he was going to be the new Deadshot, and I actually respect Gunn for this, and respect DC for this, and the people who's making the Suicide Squad, because Will Smith said that he wants to keep doing Deadshot, but apparently he had conflictions with shooting, and they couldn't get him into shooting. So instead of replacing Deadshot, even though Will Smith's not under contract to do Deadshot, they said, "Yeah, we're gonna hold on to him for you," and they did Idris Elba as a whole different character. So
Who almost looks like he looks like a Deadshot.
yeah, but he's called Bloodsport, and he's like a former Marine or something.
Also, Pete Davidson. That was another one. That was the other one I was thinking of. Who I actually think he's a pretty funny comedian. But
I disagree.
It's interesting that he's supposed to be in it.
I don't like him really at all. So, but wait a minute.
I guess
how? Wait. I'm assuming you didn't bring him up because you weren't able to see him. But John Cena's in this.
Yeah, I saw John Cena. Yeah.
Wait, how could you see him? I'm kidding. Let's move on.
Also,
anyways, but I guess
so
the real question is, Tomas, that we have. We know that star-studded. It's gonna be a movie. But does it have the potential to bring them another Academy Award? I guess that's a real question we all have.
I don't think the first one deserved an Academy Award.
No, I'm just asking. Does this one have potential?
I think yes, this one does, because honestly, the director that I feel like is in charge of this one is a better director for it.
Okay, to be fair, on a serious note, they won for makeup, correct?
Yeah.
So
makeup, yeah.
I will give them that the makeup was good, and if they could do it even better, that would be great. I would appreciate that.
Apparently, they've changed out Killer Croc, because Killer Croc was in the first one, but they actually wanted to use King Shark in the first one. They just didn't have the money, apparently, for the CG.
King Shark, I know.
Yeah, so apparently they're doing King Shark in this one because apparently they have the money for the CG this time. So,
okay, well, thank you for that. We need to move on, and we're going to transition into the topic of video games, which I love video games so much.
Isn't a hack.
What? Are you going back to?
Huh? What? Huh?
Okay, we'll do a Scorsese cast, and we can. Alan, you need to see some Scorsese films.
Please give Kyle a chance to discuss video games. You're being very rude.
All right, video games. You can just edit all this out.
Yeah, I'm just going to do that.
The game that I'm going to talk about is called Danganronpa. Now, there's a backstory here. There are 4 games to this series that I know about, and I own all 4 of them. I've owned them for quite some time. I haven't played any of them until this past week. I have, some would say a problem. Others would call it just a great hobby. But I collect video games. So I have all 4 of the Danganronpa games for PS Vita. Now, before I tell you what this game's about, let me tell you how it came about. So I own all 4 of the games on Vita, right? It looks cool. I had a little bit of knowledge of what the game was about, and I've been trying to get around to playing them, but you have to read a lot, and so the beginning is just a lot of reading, setting up the story, not a lot of action right away. And so I'd read the story like, okay, what's going on? And you play a teenager, which already, kind of turns me off. It's like, oh, great, we got a whiny teenager. And so I would get through like the intro and then like start getting into the story, and I'd be too tired because I'd always start it at like midnight for whatever reason. And so I haven't gotten around to playing these games. However, it is the 10th anniversary, and that's why I wanted to bring up this game. The reason I started playing it was because I found out you could connect an Xbox One controller to your phone and play games on your phone with the controller. This is probably old news, but I just found out about it. And so I bought a little clip that goes onto your Xbox controller and then holds your phone. And then I was going to just walk around playing my phone with the Xbox controller like a cool guy. Of course, who wouldn't want to do that? and or just play your Switch like a normal human. But I wanted to get a game for my phone that I could play. So it's the 10th anniversary. This game is on sale. If you haven't played this game, I highly recommend it. They're all called Danganronpa, but they have different names. The first one's called Trigger Happy Havoc. The second one's Goodbye Despair. And the third one's Killing Harmony. And then there's like another one that's like a side story called Ultra Despair Girls. So I bought this game, and unfortunately, you can't use the controller on this game. Anyways, it's just a touchscreen game. But I ended up playing it anyways just to try it out, and I got hooked, and I completely beat the game over the past week. Probably because it was on my phone, and I always have my phone. It's a little bit easier than the Switch or carrying around my Vita as well. And you could just put the phone on sleep and jump back in. Good autosave feature. But the story of this game, without giving any spoilers, because it's a murder mystery, is that you are a teenager locked in a high school with 15 students all together, and there's this weird looking black and white teddy bear that pops out of nowhere and says, in order to get out, you have to graduate. The only way you graduate is if you kill someone, and then you have to get away with killing them, which means there's a trial whenever somebody dies. And if you get discovered, then you die. But if you trick everyone else, then the rest of them die, and you will graduate and can leave the school.
Kind of sounds like a messed up clue.
Yeah, it is. And once you kind of sink your teeth into this idea, and obviously the first murder happens, you're like, okay, I got to know what's going on. And it gets wacky, and it's a little bit creepy. And man, it's just so fun. And I ended up beating the whole thing, and I had no clue what happened was going to happen. And I even started the second one on my Vita almost right afterwards. And so it's the 10th anniversary. The games are on sale. I think it's $5 if you want to buy it on your phone. It works great on the phone.
Anymore.
Oh, did it end? I just got
Yeah,
it
I
last
just
week.
looked it up while you were talking about to see it, and it's apparently not on sale anymore.
Dang it.
Unfortunate, because I was thinking about picking it up too, because I'm gonna try it, but
Well, I feel like they go on sale every once in a while.
yeah, I put it on my wish list.
The Vita games are hard to find, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend getting them on Vita, but if you can get them digitally when they go on sale, definitely. So would love to discuss it further.
Sounds interesting. Yeah, if
It's
it goes on
fun.
sale, I'll let you know, and I'll probably pick it up.
Or if you want, I don't know if you have a Vita or whatever, you can borrow mine. So
No, I don't have a Vita, but maybe figure it out.
You uncultured swine. No Vita.
I wish I had a Vita. They're very nice.
We're just losing respect for each other, left and right this episode.
I like Vitas.
I obviously love them, but the PS TV, if you get your hands on one of those, you could just play video games on your TV. So
yeah, those are.
But those are even harder to find. So
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't have any other video game news, so I'm gonna shift it over to you guys. You guys got some cool D&D stuff this week for us.
All right. So on the 17th of this month, my whole role-playing Discord is getting all excited for Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. This is another expansion similar to Xanathar's Guide to Everything. It is basically a boost. It's supposed to be coming with 22 subclasses, a new artificer subclass, new spells, magic items, artifacts, magical tattoos, which I know Tomas was interested in at one time, group patrons, and sidekicks, which sidekicks is something that was added in the last starter kit. And now there's some more sidekicks. They're basically, if you want to play one-on-one with a DM or even two-on-one, normally you need you should have roughly 4 players. That's what it's made for. But if you only have like 2, you can use these sidekicks. They help out. They basically auto level, but they just help you have a smaller group. There's some expanded Dungeon Master Toolkit stuff. There's more rework and characters' racial traits. And there's nuclear locations that are discussed, the Enchanted Springs and the Eldritch Storms, which are both sound very interesting. But to get more specific, we don't know a lot about it right now because it hasn't come out yet. But Jeremy Crawford actually did a little little tidbits. And the reason I was going to bring this up because I've had a discussion with Tomas on multiple occasions about making characters that can essentially disarm and then reuse the weapon. Well, Jeremy Crawford has already stated that there's going to be a pugilist added to the fighter class, which is basically a fighter that now uses its fisticuffs.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, a non-monk hand-to-hand fighter, which sounds really cool. Another one, there's going to be a lot of maneuvers they're adding in fighting styles of different styles of weapons, which sounds really cool. They've already talked about another archer-focused archetype, or I'm not really sure. They just said focusing. I'm not sure if they're archetypes or something different, but it sounds interesting.
If I can interject on this one, I did actually hear something about this. So apparently they're essentially guides on how to build certain characters. So like if you want to make an archer character,
Okay.
if you want to make a gladiator, if you want to make a fisticuffs, So like apparently you can choose all these new things to kind of build.
Yeah. So and he talks about right here how you can make a character. There's an easier way to make a character who can essentially do what you were talking about doing, which was taking people's weapons and then fighting them with their own weapons. So there's
Yeah.
something being added in those regards. It's just a really cool bonus to the game. For those of us who remember when Xanathars came out, Xanathars was just a leaps and bounds of character creation from what was previously available. And now Tasha's is looking to be something very similar, which is another leap with character building, which we all, well, not we all, but me and Tomas know. One of the most fun things to do in D&D is to literally make a character, which is why so
Yeah.
many D&D players have about 50 backups in their mind of characters they want to make, because they did a really good job making the game fun to just make characters, which is something that a lot of games a lot of games have it to where it's really stressful and there's a lot of math involved to make characters, but D&D did a really good job of making that first process, your first taste in playing the game, actually a pretty fun experience. But yeah, so we're excited for that. 17th of November. Unless you want anything else to add, I think that's all I got.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm like I said, I'm just excited for it. I love the extension and the classes, and I'm really interested in the whole disarming thing because, like I said, I thought that would be such a fun character. Just like take people's swords and stab them with them.
Yeah.
Sounds fun. Hope you guys enjoy it when it comes out. Moving on to the last portion of our podcast here. I wanted to ask you guys, first of all, if you guys have been playing anything this week, and then after that, I had a specific question I wanted to ask you guys.
I haven't been really playing that much stuff. The new DLC for Neo came out, and I played that for a little while, and it's fun. But I've been actually busy doing a bunch of other things this week, so I've been pretty busy.
Well, I haven't, because I got stuck in the snow, and I've been playing Animal Crossing a lot. I've been playing Hades a lot. I've actually started Magic the Gathering Arena, which was really fun, and it surprisingly hooked me. I've been actually didn't play much today because I was doing some research for this, but it is a really fun. It's probably my favorite virtual card game I've ever played, which is really cool.
Wow.
And then then I've also watched all the Blood of Zeus and the new Fargo episode. I just had a great time with all that stuff. Oh yeah, and I've also been dabbling in back into Bravely Second.
Dibbly dabbling.
Dibbly dabbling. I haven't played it a lot, but I've been playing it here and there.
So you kind of made up. Well, I talked about Danganronpa, but you kind of made up for our lack of playing games.
I guess so. Yeah, I went pretty hard into it. Also, I also finished Castlevania too, which was amazing. I've done a lot.
The show.
Yeah, the show.
Which is also on Netflix, right?
Also on Netflix. Another amazing show. Probably, I don't know if it'd be better than Blood of Zeus, but they're both equally good.
Is Castlevania animated?
Yeah, it's like an anime style.
Okay, yeah, okay. I've seen clips of it, but not. I don't really know the Castlevania lore, so I think if you were a fan of Castlevania at all, you probably know or be interested in it. So I'm not.
Yeah,
Anyways,
you have an idea.
Right. Dracula, all
Yep,
that fun
Dracula.
stuff.
There you go.
The question I wanted to ask you guys specifically is, what is one game, since the next gen consoles are out, and none of us have one on us, what is one game that you are looking forward to next gen playing? So on the PS5 or the Xbox or whatever.
I'm really looking forward to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think I said that before, but yeah, it looks really, really fun, and the videos that I've seen make it look really fun too. So
I would have to say Spider-Man Miles Morales, even though it is on
Mhm.
both, and I may get it on PS4. I'm still debating what I'm going to do with that. But I just beat Spider-Man this last year, and I really enjoyed it. I should have known I was going to enjoy it that extensively, but I did. And so watching this new one, I also loved Into the Spider-Verse, and I've always been curious about Miles Morales as a character. So I'm really excited for that game, and it looks wonderful, and it looks like it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that counts because the PS5 one will look prettier.
Mm-hmm.
But the game I'm looking forward to, which has been delayed, and this may surprise you guys, but I'm actually looking forward to Halo Infinite,
Oh,
which is not even coming out till next year.
yeah.
I I'm turning over to the dark side with Xbox, and so
It looks good. I agree. Like I said, if the Xbox is looking really nice right now, and that are you talking about the Halo, the Halo like that, the battle royale style Halo, whatever it's called? I don't know what it is. It's like that free to play one. Is that the one you're talking about? Or is it
it's not. I'm pretty sure it's a different one. I think it's the next in the series.
Oh, okay.
Halo Infinite is the one I'm talking about. I think you
I think
might
I
be
think that's
talking
the
about
Ultimate
Halo
one.
Wars.
yeah,
No,
I
I think
think you're talking about Halo Wars.
I don't know. I was gonna look it up. I don't care enough. Either way, that's cool if there's another Halo coming out. Still, I mean, that's one series I dipped out of a long time ago. I think the last one I played was, I think I got into that one where there was like 4 of them. What was it called? Reach? Was it Reach?
Yeah,
I think that was
Oh
the
yeah, the
last
yeah,
one
Fall
I
Reach.
played.
Yeah,
which was
Yeah, I think that was the
actually a
last
good
one I
one.
played. I didn't even beat it, I know, but that was my ending of Halo. But it does. I mean, I've always been huge into sci-fi, so Halo has always interested me.
Yeah,
yeah. I always enjoyed Halo back in the day, and it was one of the things that I wish I had. I wish it had carried over onto the PS, but I got really
Well, if
excited when I heard about
Destiny,
Anthem and no, yeah, Destiny. Yeah, and I was like,
yeah,
"What?" But I've heard some bad things about Destiny 2 and stuff too, so
it's gotten better because Bungie has basically taken their IP back from Activision. So from what I've understood, it's gotten a lot better.
oh,
Uh,
maybe I'll have to get into it.
it
and
got
it's free to
better,
play, so you got nothing to lose.
except for your precious time.
Yeah, except for your time.
And so,
But it plays
Alan,
really well.
there is a leak that would suggest that there will be battle royale in Halo Infinite, but
Oh, okay, gotcha.
it doesn't look like it's confirmed yet.
Okay.
Um, so, but yeah,
All right. Well,
I'm
I'm just
that's the
curious.
one I'm most looking forward to. Which brings us to our indie of the month. The indie of the month is our independent game that we like to talk about. Sometimes we talk about 2 in 1 month. That's how it is. So Alan mentioned this game earlier, and he's the one that's been playing it. So Alan, tell us about this game that is our indie of the month.
Definitely gonna try to make this quick, but this game is amazing. I just talked about earlier, Hades. I have not. It is a roguelike, which a lot of people are deterred from because it is the whole fact where you go through a course, you get as far as you can, you die, and then you come back and try again. But they've taken a nice spin on this, and they made it to where you are Hades' son, and you are trying to escape hell or Hades, essentially. And you're trying to get to Olympus, and the other gods have heard of you, and they're trying to help you with these boons. So the whole
Hey,
point of the game is you slowly getting better and leveling up. But at the same time, there's this really integral story going on with your character and his father, who knows that you're leaving. And so every time you come back, you have more words with them. They know that you're trying to escape. They're not doing a whole lot about it because Hades thinks he got it in the bag. So it's just a challenge. You get different boons each time. You unlock more weapons. They personalize it when you come back. The person at the door, he knows like what killed you, and he'll be like, "Oh, you died to that again, huh?" And it's really interesting. And it's one of these things that I've never had one of these games hook me before, but this time it just does really well. They even have a god mode. And that sounds like cheating, but it's in there for people who don't feel like they have the skill to continue because they're so determined for you to go through the story because the story itself is really good. And it's all voice acted and everything, and it's just done really well. Great art, great music. I highly recommend this game if you want to play a game that requires skill, has lots of good story for you to just sink your teeth into. There's even relationship aspects where you get gifts while you're out and you can give them to people, that different gods and Cerberus, which is your pet dog. You can give them all gifts and stuff to up their likeness for you and learn more about them and everything like that. There's a lot to unpack here, and it's just a really good game. And it's the first game that I've experienced in the roguelike genre that has just like hooked me and just kept me wanting more. And I keep going back to it and having to pull myself away to try to do other stuff.
Nice.
But it's really fun.
That's when you know it's a good game. That's how what I was with
Yeah.
Danganronpa this past week. Was like I'm trying to do the dishes while I'm tapping my phone. Like, who killed this person? So that's cool, man. Like,
It's only 25 normally, and it was on sale recently. I'm pretty sure it's back to normal, but it went on sale for 20, and that's when I picked it up, and I do not regret it. It's a great price for it. It's made by Supergiant Games. I think some of you know them. At least I know Kyle knows them.
yes.
They made Bastion, Transistor, both good games, but both of them definitely leading to this masterpiece that is Hades.
Yeah, it's cool to see a company that has made some good games that grows and gets better, and you're like, oh man, the next rendition, current one, I haven't played it, but it sounds amazing. It's getting great reviews. I've seen people play it on Twitch a lot, so that's really cool to see that company's doing well, making good things.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that looks cool.
I am personally going to hold out until the physical release because me and my physical games, which I have Transistor. I actually have the physical copy of Transistor. Bastion
Nice.
is kind of harder to find because it's on Vita, but it's a pain in the butt. I don't know if I'll get that one, but I'm pretty sure I'm still waiting for the Cuphead physical copy to come out. Don't know if that's ever going to happen.
I don't know if you're gonna get lucky.
Yeah, we'll see. I have that game digitally, and it's difficult. But this brings us to our soapbox, and I brought up physical copy games because that's what I kind of wanted to get on my soapbox about. And I do have a bit of a rant to kind of end my soapbox today. However, I want to start with a recap. I mentioned that I was selling a lot of my old games if they don't have cases. I've gone into full collector mode. They have to have the case. Sometimes I'm picky about having the manual. Sometimes I don't really care depending on the game. And so I'm trying to figure out which games I'm collecting for too, which games I'm actually going to be able to play. Because at this point, I don't even know if I have enough hours in my life to play the amount of video games I have left. And so I'm just I'm doing a big overhaul of them. And I only have a handful of games that don't have cases left over. I'm probably just going to try to sell them in one big lot or give them away. However, I did get, and this one I was hunting down for a while, and this is my rant. I got Final Fantasy X and the 10-2 HD remaster on the Nintendo Switch. And, you could probably go down to Best Buy or whatever and pick this game up. However, the reason why I was hunting this one down and took me a while was because the American version or the North American version gives you Final Fantasy X on the cart, but you have to download Final Fantasy X-2 with the digital download code. Which means if you resell it or you get a new Switch or you lose, the data gets corrupted, you don't have that game anymore, and that drives me nuts. And so what the weird thing is, though, the Japanese version, I believe, have both of the games on the cart. So it's possible. It's completely possible. And luckily the Switch is region free, so I just got the Asia version for like a ridiculously good price because it goes for a lot. and I have both the games now. And
That's awesome.
thanks, man. It's just kind of annoying though that like why
Yeah.
would they switch it up for the North American? I don't know. It's just whatever. I think I own that game on PS4, Switch, PS3, and the Vita. And so
Have you beaten it on all of them?
no, I haven't been on any of them. So
Oh wow.
well, at least not 10-2. I haven't beaten 10-2. That one's going to
It's
be
a
rough
good
to get
game,
through.
but yeah,
Yeah.
they're long.
Okay. Yes, they are long.
But going back to that, yeah, the Resident Evil thing pissed me off as well. Banner Saga did it right. They got a smaller cart, and they just have it. It's basically an update, and you just download the other games.
Right.
I don't know why
right.
these other companies can't do that. I mean, if you're going to cheap out and get the smaller cart, because that's what it is, they have different size carts that you can buy from Nintendo. And some companies have to cheap out. But if you're going to cheap out, kind of like Banner Saga, at least just make it a DLC update that you get all the
Right.
games. Don't make it a code, so you're just left out in the dust. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous. If I want to buy digital, I'd buy digital.
Exactly. Yeah. You're right. The thing about Banner Saga though is that now the artwork has a big logo that says "download code required," and it just kind of kills it.
I started looking online to see if I could find a different sleeve to see if you could print it off for me because I know you were doing that.
I'll get you one if you want
Okay,
it.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But and Kevin, if you're giving away those games, hit me up. I know, and this is just a funny little tidbit. I skipped out on Wind Waker because I didn't have a GameCube.
Oh,
My brother had a GameCube. I didn't. One time you did this a long time ago. You had an extra copy of Wind Waker. You didn't know how you got it, and it was all scratched up.
yeah.
And you're like, you can have this. There's no case or anything, but you can just have it. I beat that game a couple times. I made a case for it. That is probably my favorite Zelda, and that's how I got
that's
it.
cool.
Kyle was trying to just give it away one day, and I was like,
Oh
"Yeah,
my
I'll take it
gosh.
if you don't want it."
Okay.
And it was just easy.
Okay. I have to tell you, I have I just sold a game and it got returned to me on eBay because it's so scratched up, and it is the frickin' Wind Waker.
Oh, really?
Yes. I don't
I
know
have
how
a
that.
scratch up. It worked fine. I never had an issue.
I know
I still
it worked
have it.
fine. It worked fine before I sent it out. When I got it back, maybe they scratched it up more. It didn't work, but it worked fine on my
I don't
Wii.
know, yeah.
On my Wii, and so I don't know how that game keeps finding me and why it's so darn scratched up. But so that is great. Like I was having a moment there. I was like, wait, did this happen this week? Am I supposed to give you Wind Waker?
No, this was a long time ago. Like this was like back when you were in the back house and everything. This is a long time
Oh
ago.
wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you want a copy of Wind Waker? Because
Another broken copy. Well, mine's not broken apparently, although it's scratched up. It's in a very unique case though, because I made it myself. I got like a rented case, and then I got one of those renting cases, and I put a sleeve in there that I printed offline very, very crudely. But
that's awesome.
I still have it. It's a keepsake I probably won't get rid of. It's probably not worth a lot anyways, but still.
That's cool. Okay, respect gained. Respect gained back. But that's my soapbox for this week. So I think Alan, you're up next.
Yeah, I was gonna do something a little different this week, and I don't know how long this episode is gonna go, but I'm gonna do a little D&D story time. This session happened not too long ago. It was actually 2 sessions ago, and a lot of crazy stuff happened this section. And I started thinking about it, and I started writing. And I was like, "No, this is isolated enough. I think this would give you a nice experience of D&D." So, well, let's start. So we have our heroes. We have an Asmar rogue named Hidao, which is actually Tomas's character on the podcast. We have a half-elf paladin named Everest, a Goliath fighter named Maluka, a Kalashtar, which is human-looking. It's a fancy human. Which is like a crow person or raven person named Marley, and then a human warlock named Emelot. Well, let's start. We started with Hidao. He was in the attic of the Burgermeister's mansion looking at a trap door. He discovered it the previous session. We have Everest, Maluka, and Dare. They are distracting the guards by asking them to go to get the mayor or Burgermeister, is what they call it in the game, for them to talk to. Marley is in the house next door in Lookout. And Emelot, well, he's in jail. And we're not going to worry about that because it's a whole another story for a different time. The party is trying to save their friend Irina, who was kidnapped, and taken to the mayor's mansion by Isaac, who is the mayor's right-hand man. He's a large, bald man with a big demon arm. Hidao is in the house looking for her. He decides not to go into that door because it looked a little scary. He didn't know what was going on, so he figured he'd go back down the second floor and look around. He peeks out of the master bedroom, as that's where the ladder to the attic was, and there he is, Isaac, leaving the house. He turns back real quick and hides. Luckily, he doesn't see him, so he begins to search the rest of the upstairs. Meanwhile, at the bottom, Everest and Maluka are trying to persuade the guards to get the Burgermeister when one comes back and explains that they're no longer welcome there and they need to leave. They try to talk to him. They refuse and attack. A fight starts. Everest is attempting to knock them out. Maluka, the fighter, starts to, but then just starts butchering people because that's what he does. Dare is using magic and is having to kill people as well. Isaac finds his way down. Maluka goes and starts fighting him. While they're fighting, Isaac takes down Maluka. Marley comes over dressed as a guard and tries to convince him that he's on his side. Isaac has his doubts, so he orders him to go fight his friends. Well, Marley won't do that, so he decides to attack Isaac, and Isaac ends up cutting him with his axe. Meanwhile, in the house again, Hidao is running through the house looking for Irina. He goes to one room, can't find her, another room, can't find her, and eventually he stumbles across Isaac's room. He opens the door with a lockpick because he is a rogue, not realizing he had the key in his pocket the whole time. When he gets in there, he finds Irina gagged and tied up. And he goes to remove the gag. She begins to breathe. He puts the gag back and eventually cuts her loose where she moves the gag. But I just wanted to explain what this room looked like because of Hidao's next actions. So I took an insert right here. Dolls. The room is full of pretty little dolls with powder white skin and auburn hair. Some of them dressed beautifully, others plainly. Some of the dolls fill a long bookshelf, and others are arranged in neat rows on wall-mounted shelves. Still others are piled on top a bed and a heavy wood chest. What's most odd about the dolls, apart from their clothing, is they all look like Irina. Hidao gets freaked out by this, throws oil on the ground, and sets it on fire. So they run out. Hidao kicks open the window. He's an Asmar, half angel. He brings out his wings, pulls Irina away, flies over the battlefield as Isaac's about to slice Marley one more time. He drops down, lets Irina go, peeks around the corner to help out his allies. He shoots Isaac in the back of the head, defeating him. He collapses right there. The party starts talking as they see the Burgermeister's mansion slowly burning next to them, and screams coming from within. That's where we'll end right now, but I thought that would be kind of fun. That is a session of D&D that the players did some crazy stuff beforehand to get to this point. I thought it would be
I
fun.
bet.
I just have to point out that so Hato's character is extremely reactive to things. So like you do something, he reacts. He doesn't think. So yeah, when you showed him that room of dolls, he was just like, reaction, burn it. That sounds logical.
That was just really fun. Alan did not tell us what he was going to do beforehand. We have some notes and it says D&D story time. That was really fun. I enjoyed listening to that. I want to hear now. Let me ask you this: was that actually a game that happened? Like, was that like a log?
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that was about a 4-hour session with me going back and forth between them. And the combat takes a lot longer than that because it's like kind of like HeroClix is like a board game style. So they have turn order and everything like that. So it takes time. So I kind of sped across a lot of that.
So
to try to get the meat.
everything you read took 4 hours, or
Yeah,
like
we
the
have
session?
4-hour sessions. That session was about 4 hours, I think.
Dang, and you read it all in about 4 minutes.
Yeah, I had to cut a bit, but yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Alan does a really good job of this, especially when we kind of divide ourselves up, which this group has a bad habit of doing. But yeah, so Alan's like leading these characters through the fight in the courtyard while leading my character Hado through the upstairs. So it's like it's a lot going on.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. I was just trying to get a grasp on it all. I know you got to like.
Yeah.
Some people do stop and think. Not every character is reactional. Well, that was fun. Cool. Cool. Maybe we could continue some of the story.
Yeah, I'll think if I get to a little bit more for next time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Anyways, we're gonna move on from that, and I forgot that I was doing this because of that whole big event. But we have a quiz. We really liked doing that quiz last session. That was a really good idea, Kyle. So we want to do another quiz, and this time I'm the ringleader for these two guys. So we're gonna play. How many can you name? This is a point-based game. There's gonna be 3 questions. Whoever gets the right answer will get the point. And how it will work is I will give you a topic and what you have to name. So you have to name as many of them as you can. But the idea is we're going to start with Tomas. I'm going to go with Tomas because I see the list this time. Tomas will go first. He will say how many he thinks he can name. And then it's Kyle's turn. And he's going to say if he can name more, or he's going to ask him to name them. So whoever says they can name them and names the amount they say will get the point. Now here's the kick. If you say you can name as many as you can and you don't name that many, the other person gets the point. Okay? Does that make all sense to you guys?
Okay. Is there, it does make sense. Is there a timer on us like making the bets? Do we have a,
I wasn't going to do timers because it's pretty much going to be, well, unless we really need it, but it's going to be basically if he gets to a point where you don't think you can name anymore, you tell him to name him because now he's basically got to show his hand if he can do it or not.
Okay.
So we'll try to go quick-ish, but let's see. So the first one, we're going to go with Star Wars because of Mandalorian. Isn't that exciting, guys? All right. So in Star Wars, there's a lot of planets, almost uncountable. How many can you name?
Ooh.
Tomas?
Ooh.
Hold on. Let me think. One.
Okay. All right.
I honestly.
I can name at least 5.
All right, Tomas.
Come on. I don't believe you. Go.
Okay. Am I on the spot now?
Yeah, on the spot. Name
All
them.
right. Coruscant, Tattooing, Alderaan, Endor.
Alderaan's not a planet anymore.
What are you talking about?
It blew up. It counts.
It blew up.
It counts.
And okay.
All right, so you got 4. Yeah, you got 4.
Okay, I'm at 4. And so the last
Endor's
one.
technically a moon, but that's fine. I'm counting moons.
No, it's the moon of Endor, though.
Oh, that's right. You're right. You're correct.
So it is a planet. I was going to point that out, but I got interrupted.
No, yes, you are correct. Anyways,
Okay,
one more. You got one more, Kyle.
Jakku.
All right. A new one.
Jakku?
Yep,
he's just making up words now. Jakku.
You got to watch the sequels, bro.
Good job, Kyle. You got a point.
Yeah.
So, over here.
You know, it's the only planet I could think of.
Which one?
Well, I could think of 2, but I was like, Alderaan's not going to count. I really thought Alderaan wasn't going to count. I was like, Tatooine was the only one I could think of.
All right, so this one's going to be leaning toward Tomas, actually. So we were talking about this with Suicide Squad. Batman has a large list of rogues gallery. He has a lot of enemies.
Oh, boy.
How many can you name?
Okay.
I can do
villains.
It's Kyle first. Villains, his enemies.
Not just the rogues, just all villains?
All villains, yes.
I could probably do 10 off the top of my head. I could do 10.
All right, Tomas?
Well, I could do 10, and I could do probably 5 more on top of that.
15?
15?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got to hear 15 then. That's risky for me.
All right. Here we go.
I'm taking it.
All right. We have Joker, Scarecrow, Penguin.
He's already cracking under the pressure.
Penguin, Bane, Ra's al Ghul, Clayface, Killer Croc, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Mad Hatter,
It's too much for him. He can't handle it.
11. You got 4 more.
Two-Face. Did I mention Scarecrow?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Okay.
Scarecrow.
So
All right.
no, I got Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And
Judges, is that even? This is not Alice in Wonderland. What is this?
No, they're his
You got
villains.
one more. We're gonna. I'm timing you right now.
And
One more.
Firefly.
All right. Good job, Tomas. That was a point for you.
That okay.
All right.
I was calling you out just to get in your head, but that was impressive. I don't think I could have got that. Many.
I will admit there were several I was drawing blanks on for a moment. I was like, oh crap.
All right. Congratulations, Tomas. You guys are tied up. Let's see who wins the night. We got one more. You're both X-Men fans. Everybody likes X-Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
X-Men.
Yeah,
They have a lot of branches around the world, don't they?
Mm.
How many teams can you guys name of the X-Men? Like how many branches?
Oh my gosh! All right, who gets to go first?
Tomas, you get to start.
Okay.
I can think of 4 right now off the top of my head.
Oh, 4. I can do one up. I can do 5.
You 5? I already got 5, Tomas.
Ooh, how much time do I have?
Say something quick.
Are you Googling it right
now? Honor code.
Yeah, list your 5 because I can really only think of 4. I can't think of who the 5th one is.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Kyle.
Oh boy. Okay. So just straight up X-Men. Does that count as one? I'm assuming.
No, anything besides X-Men. So pass
Oh,
that.
beans. Oh, beans. All right.
I was. If it makes you feel any better, Kyle, I was gonna count X-Men. So.
Okay. Well, here we go. What do I got to get to? 5? Did I say?
5. 5 different X-Men groups.
X-Force.
All right, there's one.
X-Factor.
There's another one.
What's the stupid Canadian one? Oh man. Brotherhood? No, does that count?
No, that doesn't count.
That's the enemies. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I'll let that one slide. But you gotta keep going. No more mistakes.
No. Oh gosh. All right.
Yeah.
I think anything with an X in it. X. Hold on. Man, we haven't played HeroClix in forever. I can't think of the keywords.
I know because a lot of them are teams.
They're all in there. I might have bit off more than I could chew. All right. X. Wonders.
No X Wonders.
All right.
No.
I was caught. I was bluffing.
I'm surprised you didn't say Excalibur.
Oh,
because I know that's a big one for you.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
To make you feel better, Kyle, here were my 4: X-Men.
Yeah.
X-Force. Alpha Flight, which is that stupid
that's
Canadian
the one. Yeah.
I couldn't remember. Alpha Flight and Excalibur, but I couldn't think of a 5th one. So X Factor, I should have thought.
Other ones, just mentions that you probably should have thought of. New Mutants, which is technically a team.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they're making a New Mutant movie.
Yep. Generation X, the Marauders.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just
Morlocks.
There's no more.
Taking Morlocks?
Not technically X-Men.
Okay.
But there's apparently, I didn't even know this. There's actually a London X-Men, which I would have counted if he would have said it, but I don't think he was going to say that. They're just called London X-Men. Yeah. I guess they're the X-Men from London. Pretty straightforward. Anyways, good job.
Better than Alpha Flight. I could have said that. Could I have said the new X-Men?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Anyways,
so covered as a team, but yeah.
Okay.
But Tomas, you won tonight. You got 2 points.
Congrats.
Kyle, you got 1. And I think we're going to start keeping score. And I think next week is Tomas is going to do it. See what he comes up with for a quiz. All right.
Calendar Man, Riddler.
Oh boy.
Huntress.
All right, buddy.
Before I think we broke Tomas. 2 weeks from now. So we like to record every 2 weeks. We record on Wednesday, but 2 weeks from now is actually going to be the night before Thanksgiving. So we're actually just going to take that week off, and we'll let you guys know on our Discord exactly. We'll be back the following week with a spoiler cast for Mando, but we're going to take that week off, so there won't be a Nerd BS in 2 weeks. But we'll let you know. We'll keep you up to date when we get back on track, which should probably just be the following week after that. But yeah, you can find us on Discord where?
All right, we have an email, which is nerdbackstory@gmail.com. Feel free to email any questions or comments or possibly hate mail for Tomas. I also have a Twitter for NerdBS, which is at nerd_BS. I have my personal Twitter, which is at SKADMatrix. And if you respond to any of those and ask me to be in the Discord, I will get you into the Discord, which we have a nice community in here that is slowly building. Where we talk about current topics, usually nerd related, and maybe we could play a game or two sometime. So, with that, I can't wait till next time, guys. This was fun.
Absolutely, that was great. Thank you guys.
All right.
Yep.
Good
I
night.
had a great time. See you guys next time.